This is Joe.
This is my brother Jamie.
This is my big brother and my only sibling Forrest.
This is my brother Andy.
I lost my youngest brother Doug to suicide in January of 2023.
He was unique. He was selfless, really creative, positive, and just always full of life, full of fun, goofy.
He was a huge tinker. He loved finding out how things worked, why they worked. He loved building things. He was a very loving person. He'd go out of his way for anyone. And he was a massive goofball. He's one of the funniest people I knew.
Jamie was one of a kind. He was tall, smart, athletic, effortlessly handsome, and sarcastic. He was quick-witted and had a sharp mind, and he was pretty much generally always 2 steps ahead of the rest of us. And beneath that humor, he was a very kind-hearted man who was deeply, deeply loved by his family. He carried this loyalty and warmth about him that just made you feel safe and valued and seen. That's the one thing that I hear even to this day, 2 years after his passing, from friends that knew him back then, is that he was and still is one of the most loyal and solid men that they had ever met. And that means so much to my family and I. His absence, it leaves this ache on my family that words can't quite describe. He is missed beyond measure every single day. And even though we grieve his loss, we are very thankful for the gift of having known him and loved him for all of his years on earth.
Andy was the type of person with just one look he could make you laugh. He gave the most incredible rants. He was fiercely competitive. He would stop at nothing for the people that he loved. He was one of the smartest people I've ever met in my whole life. He was brave. He was an incredible brother. And he made sure to live every day like it was his last. He would do things like take a flight from South Korea to see my mom just so she didn't have to be alone for Mother's Day when all of my siblings were out of town. He was selfless and he gave the very best hugs. My brother was the kind of person who, without you needing to say, he could feel your pain. And he would make sure to do whatever he could to put a smile on your face, or at least make sure that you knew that you were not alone.
I would describe my brother as a bright light in the lives of those who got to know him. He was funny. He was the kind of person that could make you laugh even on your worst day. He was loving and caring and helpful. Never said no when people asked for help, whether that be mowing lawns or cutting down trees. He had a charisma about him that made strangers feel like friends, and his heart made friends feel like family. He was a beautiful, complex, and unforgettable person who left a mark on those that got to know and love him.
I would describe my brother, Benny, as everything good in this world wrapped up in one person.
He was good-hearted, smart, hardworking. He loved his family, and he loved making people laugh. He was my protector, although he was younger than I am. He's greatly loved and missed by many people.
He wasn't just my brother, but he was my confidant and my helper. He encouraged me to always do better and to be better in life. He was courageous and he was honorable.
I would describe Doug as being a light. He was funny. He was an outdoorsman, a fisherman, and he would quote every movie in every conversation that anyone ever had with him. I miss him so much, and I'm proud of how hard he tried for so long. He got to a point where he couldn't be with us anymore, but he gives me strength and purpose every day.
He was my brother, and I trusted him with everything. I told him things I didn't tell anyone else. I trusted him with everything. I knew he would never judge me, and he didn't. Here's another photo of him.
He is my brother, and I will love and miss him forever.
He was my big brother and my first friend.
He was my brother, and I'll always love him. He was one of my best friends. I thank God for blessing me with a brother like him.
He was my brother, and I will continue to honor him and keep his memory alive the best I can.
He was my brother and my favorite person.
It's time to speak up about mental health.
Let's please stand up for men's mental health and start talking about this more.
Let's speak up for men's mental health.
Let's speak up for mental health.
Let's speak up for mental health.
We need to raise awareness for mental health because everybody is somebody's everything.
Mental health awareness and prioritizing mental health is really important, but I think especially for men. In his case, he didn't want to have to accept help from anyone, even though he was the first person to give it out to anyone, strangers, people who didn't deserve a second chance. He was there for anything they needed, and yet he wouldn't take it himself. So, breaks my heart. But that's why it's important. Thanks for letting me tell you about Joe.
My story is one of so many others. Other brothers, sisters, wives, and best friends who have lost the person that they love. My goal is to show how widespread that this issue is. While so many men feel like they are alone in their suffering, there's so many other men who are also experiencing the same thing. And this is the importance of community. Let's speak up for men's mental health. I believe that suicide prevention is one of the most crucial and important problems in our generation. It is a problem, and each of us can be a part of that solution. If there's one thing that I have learned throughout this documentary film, it's the importance of listening, of being present to someone's pain. We can't always fix it for them, but we can show care. And we can sit with them in the mud to show someone that they are not alone. Let's expand the conversation of suicide prevention wider than this room. I believe that this conversation can be a conversation of courage and unconditional love. Please join me as I work on my documentary film, One Breath at a Time, that follows me on my own personal story of grief and loss, as well as the other stories of so many other people who have lost someone to suicide prevention. I will be asking the question, how can we stop more men from taking their lives? And what can we do to resolve this issue in our generation? I have partnered with a team of licensed clinical therapists, educators, mentors, men's coaches, a double board certified pain management and psychedelic integrated physician to help me unpack this story. I will also be having different social experiments. I will be talking with men in the community and I will be looking through the lens of our society and our psychology and our culture to really try to examine this question so that the next generation of men can know how loved that they are, and they will not have to suffer in silence. If you would like to support my work, please follow me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I also have a podcast on YouTube and Spotify. I would love to hear from you, and I can describe ways that you can support. If you are interested in joining us on our men's community events here in South Florida, then please come out. We would love to have you there. Thank you so much.